So welcome to the Blab for Phoebe Pasadena. I am Christina Suter, and I happen to run the Phoebe Pasadena meeting. But the purpose of this particular Blab is specifically to interview Matthew Owens, who is one of the partners in the For Investors by Investors Network. I am a great believer of the Phoebe FIBI, For Investors by Investors Network. I'm a great believer in that particular subchapters of real estate meetings. I believe in it because they primarily, the focus of For Investors by Investors is no sales pitch and focus on networking. I am a great believer in that, but I want to hear in Matthew's own words a little bit about that as well. But first, let's have Matthew. Hi, Matthew. Welcome.
How's it going? Thanks.
Welcome to the
Thanks
Blab.
so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Good to have you here. I want you to tell us a little bit in your own words, a little bit of your background. Like, let's start here. What do you do right now in real estate?
Okay.
Let's start there. Well, what do you do right now? As
you know, it's quite a bit, obviously. I mean, right now, and all of the Phoebe chapter leaders do quite a bit as well. And I actually personally purchase single family and multifamily properties, add value to them, and either hold them or resell them. So I'm currently purchasing about 5 single family homes a month, and I will resell about 5 a month. And then I do different joint ventures with investors and hold them long term. I also strategically buy these multifamily buildings that have upside potential in their rents, that need renovation, that maybe are mismanaged, and I'll come in and increase the value of those properties, and really look at the cash flow streams associated with those. I also invest in a lot of different opportunities outside of my own operations, which is outside syndications, and trying to really diversify into different asset classes and things like that, because I can't. My bandwidth is only so much, so I have to find ways to invest passively as well. I do that, as well as I raise capital for different clients and different investments. I probably raise about $300,000 to $500,000 a month for these different investments, either that I'm doing or I'm investing in outside of my own operations. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of what I'm doing. I also, and as part of that, which is a necessary component of this, is owning my own management company and renovation company for all of my assets that I own and joint venture partner on, because having that control over the assets is extremely important.
It's hugely important. Now, you've been doing this for a couple of years now. How long have you, you started primarily in the single family field, preparing turnkeys, right?
Right.
That's where you started. And how long ago was that?
I started about 9 years. I actually my previous life was a CPA. I'm still a CPA, but I don't do taxes because I hate them. So
that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I actually was working with a couple CPA firms where I would do primarily audits on large real estate clients, and looking at their bottom line, helping them with their internal control functions and their fraud risk factors within their company. And so by doing that on these large real estate clients, I got to see, and doing the actual audits and all the backup numbers, I got to see what the true performance was on a lot of these multifamilies, and understand the government subsidy component, which is why they needed the audits. And then I also got to do the tax side, which really helped a lot in real estate taxation and understanding structuring and things like that. I'd have to say, when I quit my job is when my learning curve went like this, comparatively to working at a CPA firm where you're kind of going through motions and it's the same thing, and you get a lot more out of working for yourself. So I quit my CPA firm job about 9 years ago, and I've personally purchased a little bit over 450 single family homes, and a couple handfuls of multifamily buildings along the way. And it's been very rewarding, very challenging, and at the same time, all those challenges just mean more learning and more money later on, because you've learned lessons, so it happens to everybody.
That's perfect. And it's great. I want to welcome our Blab listeners. We actually have a person who's joined us here on Blab, so you're welcome to hang out and listen to us. Specifically, we're interviewing Matthew Owens. with For Investors by Investors, which is a network of real estate meetings. So please listen in and enjoy. Because the next question was your history, but it sounds like you've already told us you were a CPA and you've now flipped over 450 houses so far, just so far.
Yeah, and we're doing about 5 a month right now. So,
right.
And really, I've been focusing a lot on sales and marketing and really going out there and getting my name out there and things like that, and doing a lot of education. The way I raise capital from investors, the way I actually do different assets and acquire more buildings is through education and showing other people what I do. And
right.
so, that coupled with helping them with their individual situations too, as you do as a consultant, it's interesting to be able to see everyone's situation and see the resources they don't even necessarily know they have. So, but as far as the actual history component goes, I've always loved real estate. My family has been in real estate for years. They've owned properties in Washington and as well as Glendale, California, and some multifamilies, as well as some commercial assets. And just learning along the way, that whole aspect was always intriguing to me. And so jumping ship from a job into real estate was probably one of the scariest things you could ever do. But everybody in the world saying, "Stop it! What are you doing? You're leaving a good job." And I'm going, "Yeah, but I'm going crazy here. I need to be able to really get out there and do something for myself and make money." So.
Well, you process through a lot of pieces of real estate every year, and you've been working on developing your own portfolio. So not only are you a turnkey provider and you take private money and you place it inside of assets, you both get loans from people to help you do your flips. That's one form of private equity that you use. Mm-hmm. You then turn around and sell that turnkey product, which you've just prepared, and actually place in it a tenant, which you then sell to an investor here in California primarily, but also I think you have some international clients now as well.
Right.
Right.
And we've actually sold over 200 properties to international clients, and we have all of our stuff translated into Japanese, and we're actually translating into Chinese right now as well. It's really interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of international investors, and yes. One thing that I've really felt that has really expanded my business is creating our own financing for our international clients and self-directed retirement companies, our mm-hmm. retirement plans, where we will go through and give seller financing as long as we get, call it a 50 or 40% down payment on assets. Mm-hmm. And so it's great for these international clients that can't get that U.S. financing and want to be able to leverage to some degree. So mm-hmm. it's a whole new level, another tool to the tool belt that you learn over time. So
okay. So here's my next question. Why are you passionate about real estate? You left a CPA job to start a relatively crazy business. I happen to know that you're very busy with your business most of the time, right? This is not even including the Phoebe meeting that you run, right? I mean, this is just purely running your business. Why are you so bloomin' passionate about real estate?
It's the reason why I quit my CPA firm job, because of trading dollars for your time and realizing that wealthy people really do go through and acquire assets to create income for themselves when they are when they're working for it or when they're not working for it. So meaning passive cash flow is really the key to true financial freedom. And so learning strategies to create passive cash flow for myself along with other investors is really one of the best ways to create, a massive cash flow stream to retire off of and be truly financially free. If I'm working for somebody else at a CPA firm or, mm-hmm. Another great job, and sometimes you can get great enjoyment out of those things. But I'm always going to be trading my time for money versus my time for an asset that creates money, whether I'm working for it or not. And so that mentality and realization that passive cash flow is the key to freedom mm-hmm. is gigantic. It keeps me driving. And then of course now I have a 6-month-old son. So, that keeps me driving a little more, and then now makes me want to have more cash flow so that I don't have to work as much. So
right. Well, and you having a job in real estate, which is the turnkey providing part, right? But then you also now, I know you've been focused, I don't know if it's been since you've gotten married or right before that, we're focusing on building your own portfolio so that you really do have income that is yours, that comes off of investments that you found, that you've processed, that now sit inside of your portfolio, that bring you money that's not part of your business.
Right. And really the only reason that I flip in the first place is to be able to take that money and reinvest in a passive cash flow. So the whole goal, I mean, any flipper will say, oh, I want to keep flipping and flipping. Well, there's going to be a point where you don't necessarily want to continue to flip. You want to hold a lot of these things and enjoy the important things of life, and not have to be working 60 hours a week. And trust me, I work a lot for the strategies that I deploy, and it takes a lot of effort to get to this point and to where you have a cash flow stream that covers all of your expenses. So no matter what happens, you're taken care of.
Okay.
So, but it's really rewarding when you see the in-game plan in mind,
Okay,
so.
Be prepared for the big question we talked about, because first I'm going to welcome our Blab listeners. There are people on Blab who are listening to us, so welcome. Please hang out and listen to the interview. I'm interviewing Matthew Owens with OCG Properties. He is a turnkey provider of real estate out of state in Memphis, Tennessee, primarily. But he's also a dad, as we just heard, an investor, somebody who's wanting to develop his own money. And so I'm going to ask you, Matthew, my question is, how has real estate allowed you to find or fulfill or bring your purpose in life further along? That's the big question. How is it helping you fulfill your purpose? And then we'll talk about Phoebe.
In life. Okay.
Your purpose in life. Let's get to the real stuff.
Probably about 1 out of every 1,000 people know the answer to that question or have thought about it in detail. So, but
well, you're a chapter leader. You're supposed to know the answer to that question.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, that purpose in life is probably an ever-changing thing. And so, when you're looking at it, it really comes down to what do you enjoy and what makes you fulfilled in your life. And what I really enjoy is one, spending time with my family. And then also, being able to do the things I love doing, extracurricular type, activities and things like that, as well as teaching people. And through Phoebe, which is probably, and I know I'm a little biased here, but it's one of the best real estate clubs I've ever seen from a no sales pitch standpoint, and being able to really add value to members and investors. Through that is my avenue to be able to teach and grow and meet new people that have resources to be able to develop the strategies that I love deploying in real estate, as well as finding new opportunities and new ways people make money. And it's amazing to me, the more people you meet, the opportunities that come your way, and the interests that change, and newfound ways of kind of adding that fulfillment to your life. And so to me, it comes down to, I look at financial education as one of the things that's really not taught in schools, and a big hindrance to our society as a whole. And a lot of our problems stem from the lack of financial education as a society. And I look at that as a really great way, Phoebe, as a really great way to kind of expel that knowledge and teach other people about financial education and really push them forward. And it's amazing what happens and the resources that show themselves to you just by going out and teaching other people. And it's really fulfilling. And so, that question, as far as, your fulfillment in life and what your purpose is, I really think it's just adding value to as many people as you possibly can and finding ways of helping people. Because I don't know about you, but I think, at least the way I feel about it, is the more you help other people, the more fulfilled you will be. Of course, you have to make money along with it. And, you have your own needs, of course. But at the same time, if you actually genuinely go out and help people better themselves and better their financial situation, it's one of the most fulfilling things you can do. And so it's awesome. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's definitely amazing. And challenging yourself is one of those ways to really get even more fulfillment. The more you challenge yourself and push through those challenges, that's how you do it. At least that's what I keep telling myself in my head. So every time it's hard,
Every time it's hard, we have to wake up after the baby's woken you up 3 times. You have to go, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. I have a purpose. It's not just my baby and my wife and the financial freedom. For them, it's also the education, the capacity to give to others, the being able to teach, to pay it forward. I'm using my words, not necessarily yours, but I'm hearing a little bit of resonance there on that front. So why be a chapter leader? Like, you can go to Phoebe and you can develop your network and you can be a successful investor without ever leading a chapter. Why be a chapter leader?
There's a couple benefits associated with it. One, I get to control the curriculum. So based on my experience, on doing this, I see a lot of different real estate clubs where they throw out, the next guru or the next book and tape set, or, giant boot camp that's going to cost you $10,000-$15,000. And they all end up getting into a pitch type format, and, getting in that direction. And, I think that brand is worth being a chapter leader for. And in addition to that, I just being up there and being able to teach other people see what I know and my experience in real estate, and they want to work with me from just that alone, because they see, my ability to help them through what I'm teaching. And I'm not the one always teaching my classes and things like that in my groups. I run the Phoebe, South Bay, and Long Beach. And Long Beach is more of a roundtable discussion. South Bay is a panel type discussion. So I'm not necessarily the focal point there at all points, but I get to add value in a lot of different ways through doing that, and develop relationships with a ton of people that I find ways of helping through being a chapter leader, and being able to expand that and market it. It's a great way to market my own company at the same time as, really adding value to a lot of people, and developing, the most relationships I've ever developed in my life. My only regret is not starting it sooner. I wish I was networking in my 20s, so, but
yeah. So why become a partner? Because you're actually one of the Phoebe partners, and I actually don't know the story at all as to how you became a Phoebe partner. So obviously you believe in the brand. So let's me be very clear that the Phoebe, the For Investor by Investor brand, specifically is focused on no sales pitch. So the primary formats of all meetings are, some portion is networking, some portion is education, whether it's a speaker or whether it's a roundtable or a panel. Some portion is education, and then usually there's more networking after the meeting. There's 15 chapters right now, right? There are 15 chapters, and all chapter leaders have committed to this no sales pitch format, and every speaker who comes in and speaks at Phoebe also commits to a no sales pitch format. And I as a chapter leader, I've had to have a few conversations with people before they become and speak, people who may be used to a sales pitch format. And I have to say, are you going to be okay with that? You're just going to be able to impress the crowd with your expertise and your good looks. And from there, if they like you, they're going to come up and they're going to get a card. And that's your primary sales point. Right? Really, it's about sharing education. So you took this brand on. You believed in it personally. You became a chapter leader. It brought you certain benefits. Why then become a partner? How did that happen?
Well, and it's interesting your points that you're bringing up as far as the holding people back on the sales side. I've actually had to go through and review presentations and things like that, because they're used to that. So I used to go to a lot of real estate clubs, as did Jeremy, one of the founders, and Ellis, one of the founders. And I actually met Jeremy at a real estate investment club, the one in LA, and they were pitching every time. It was always, a speaker comes up and teaches, or supposedly teaches, doesn't add a whole lot of value, and then wants to sell you a boot camp, and it's all geared towards selling as much money as possible. And you can't really believe anything that the people are talking about, because their ulterior motive the entire time is to sell you this boot camp or this book and tape set at the end of the day that costs $3,000 to $20,000-$30,000. And it's sometimes it's go to this class and then they'll upsell you to the next class.
The next class, right.
Right. Yeah. And so I saw that environment, and I'm going, this is horrible. People are getting taken advantage of. And Jeremy mentioned to me that he had this Phoebe group, and I went to his first one was 6 people at a Starbucks. And I actually went to a couple, I think there was a couple meetings, and then I went to a couple of his and realized how much better it was, and how much more feedback and appreciation people gave for the education they were receiving versus, the whole sales pitch environment on a normal real estate club. And so I wanted to start a group, and I said, I really want to expand this group. And so I went through and started the Phoebe Long Beach group, after a few times attending his club, and started it from there, and realized that this is great. There's a ton of potential in this to develop all the relationships you need to do this business and do real estate as a whole, as well as at the same time teaching people. And my true, kind of end game would be to create a passive cash flow stream of $25,000 to $50,000 a month in cash flow for myself, and actually have a nonprofit set up to teach financial education, which I find really, really rewarding. And so, and then of course, spending, I'm only doing that, of course, 5 hours, 10 hours a week. The rest is spending family and doing everything else. So, but it's interesting to me to be able to do that. So, and that's kind of why I took Phoebe on. I saw the opportunity to be able to start this group and have a base where it kind of leads me to what my end game would be at the end of the day once I'm, financially free fully and retired, so.
Okay. And so, but you became a partner. Tell me how you became a partner.
Okay, so I became a partner afterwards when I talked with Jeremy and telling him I want to expand the group. I want to be able to go through and help the creation of a website, help creation of expansion of multiple chapters, and letting other people know about it as much as possible, and really making a big commitment to helping the brand grow as a whole, as well as helping with his group expand and things like that. So, he saw a lot of value in bringing me on through my own relationships and my expansion of, my own investing, and trusted me because he had invested with me as well. So, that was the kind of strategy. Once he kind of understood my experience level in doing this, that's when he started to take me on as a partner and wanted me to come on board. So
got it. And that makes sense because we do now have a forinvestorbyinvestor.com website. Is that right? Is it .com?
Yeah.
forinvestorbyinvestor.com website. We do have all 15 chapters are on meetup.com. So you can find any one of them. We're in Southern California. I think the bulk of the chapters, I think 12 of them are in Southern California. We're also in Arizona and in Texas. I think are the other two chapters.
I think there's one in Chicago also.
And in Chicago. And so, Culver City, Manhattan Beach, Long Beach, Pasadena, Coachella Valley, San Diego, Orange County. We definitely have a variety of chapters now, which, has been a lot of growth just in the last 6 years.
Right. And our Orange County chapter, I believe, is one of the biggest chapters on Meetup for attendees. And I think you're getting up there too, Christina.
I'm working on it.
You got a great turnout rate. I mean, you add a lot of value at your clubs. I love the economics updates, of course. Even though you always want to take a shot afterwards, but it's all right, So.
I try not to overload people with my economic updates, but I can't help it. I'm the chart lady, like lots of charts, right? Okay, so here's probably the last primary question I have, which is, and then we'll open up the seat. We only have a few people here on Blab with us, but if anybody wants to ask a question, we will open up the seats after we turn the recorder off. So basically, what primary value do you want your attendees to walk away with after each meeting at your chapter? What do you focus on in trying to prepare your meetings so that the members who attend have value and can walk away with value from your meeting?
So I really try to focus on understanding the underlying components of real estate investing and the different aspects to investing. So they're educated not only on the different types of investments that they can invest in, but the legal and tax consequences, the right structuring components, the due diligence they should be doing, how the numbers break down. I mean, different ways of investing through self-directed retirement accounts. You name it, there's a topic for it. I mean, in our South Bay group, we're doing a class on international real estate tonight. And so we're doing, and we're doing a ton of these different topics. And I just sat down and we did the whole topic list for all of 2016 with my partner, David Coe, in that group. And we really just strategically come out, like, how do you raise capital for a deal? How do you find deals? And focus on the different points that people need to understand in order to be successful doing this type of an investment. At the same time, we try to add enough value and teach enough so that people are given some sort of a support mechanism when they're trying to invest. They can use us as resources. They can use other people in the room with a ton of experience as resources so that they don't get taken advantage of. And we have a huge referral network through tons of different contractors and attorneys and CPAs and team members that, can be invaluable when you're starting off, because, one of the biggest things for me was finding the right team members. I think I went through 20 lenders and 10 property managers. And I mean, it's just, how do you learn how to interview the right team members? And so, all of those different factors play in. And that's really what I try to provide, is that underlying base knowledge, almost like, classes at a school where people learn these different key aspects to investing and the different stuff that they can invest in from professionals that are doing this in this field. And that's where our speakers come in, people we've done business with or have a lot of experience with, or really we feel have a good knowledge base to provide to people that aren't going to necessarily go take advantage of people or anything like that. We really try to focus on the quality of our speakers and the lack of sale involved in that, and showing you'll get all the business you want just by teaching other people instead of selling. You don't need to sell anything in order for people that want to work with you to come work with you. So, and that's what I focus on each one of my chapters.
That's perfect. So that's all that I have as far as questions. Is there any particular thought that you want to share as a closeout? Maybe why people should come to the Phoebe Network, or any particular investing tip that you would leave somebody with?
So I think it's interesting. Tips are a dime a dozen, of course, with real estate. I mean, you could have
lots of them
tip in the world, depending on what strategy you have. I would say the number one thing that any person should do whenever they just starting out investing in real estate is to bring someone on that has the experience, that can show you the right paperwork, protect you in one way, shape, or form, and be able to advise you just like an attorney or a CPA would. And an attorney and a CPA may not be the right person involved. You definitely need them on your team, but they don't necessarily specialize in real estate in one way, shape, or form. So bringing someone on as a team member in the beginning that can help you, walk you through it, I think would be extremely valuable when people are starting off, and stop people from losing a lot of money, because we all know in the beginning, you are going to almost certainly lose money if trying to do it all yourself. I've done it. I mean, you have to learn. You go through your war stripes, so, and you get there. So, but that's one piece of advice that I would definitely give people. And going to our Phoebe chapters is one of the best ways of developing the relationships with the people that have that skill set and can teach you the right thing. And really, you can't do this business without each other. You have to have the right relationships, and going to networking events is the number one thing that's going to bring you those relationships. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Matthew. I so appreciate it. This is Matthew Owens with OCG Properties. He is a turnkey provider primarily. That's what you provide in Memphis, Tennessee. And he is also the partner in the For Investor by Investor Real Estate Investment Network of meetings. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the recorder. Thank you to all my Blab followers and people who have been listening to us on Blab. We're going to turn off the recorder and open a seat for anybody who has questions.